gears to Knoxville, discussing Vol's fall camp with our good friend Austin Price of VolQuest's On 3, who joins us this morning. Fresh off the practice field, Austin. What's going on? Good morning.
I know. I walked out of there 30 seconds ago, guys. 30 seconds ago.
I love it.
Our customary 0, 1, and 2 with some stretch, and, it was good stuff this morning on a Tuesday morning.
Routes on air. Beautiful stuff, Austin Price. So what is the takeaway from today, Austin? Anything stand out to you? Any nuggets we should know as Tennessee gets done with the open portion of practice?
I will say this. No Braylon Staley on the practice field this morning. And we'll see how quickly he can get back. But Mike Matthews was back. So basically you just traded those two. One player that I've continued to hear, just does not practice consistently, learning to practice like a college kid is something that he's still trying to figure out, is Amari Jefferson. Amari Jefferson got a ton of praise this morning, and if I'm him, it's really go time, right? I mean, like, you have all these opportunities in front of you to go and showcase it, and he got quite a bit of praise on the practice field this morning. So that, to me, is good to see for Amari, because he's trying to get back in the thick of things. He's in a white jersey and not in these no contact and yellow and red and every other color of the rainbow, to this point. And so to get some praise for him, I thought was good from the offensive staff during a red zone period where they were throwing routes on air to the end zone and those type of things. On the defensive side of the ball, Boo Carter was back in the morning. I don't want to bury the lead, but Boo Carter is officially back at practice, and to the point where he's not doing conditioning, he is doing defense. And so that's probably the biggest news of the morning. But I was walking straight off, and what I just saw was Amari Jefferson getting praised, so it was easy for me to go into that, more so than the Boo Carter stuff. But Boo Carter back at practice, and Boo's been spending out basically every day at Children's Hospital and doing some things off the field and doing a lot of conditioning, and the coaches have been happy with his progress to the point to where they've now moved him back to the practice field as a full participant.
With Amari Jefferson, he's fully healthy this calendar cycle, also with the ability to get one of those wide receiver spots, as they can't seem to keep everybody healthy at one time, Austin?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think right now it's just focused on defense, and we'll see what happens after that. At the end of the day, Boo's had a lot, and some of it's self-inflicted, but a lot thrown at him the last month, and and so he's got to get all that figured out, and I would say start with defense. If he can get back that, then we'd take it to punt return, and then after that would be offense. So, again, a good sign. Boo is checking all the boxes, and I think the real question is, how would Boo handle the punishment? How would Boo handle all the extra stuff that he was doing off the field? How will Boo handle, even today, not being the first team, right? I mean, he was running second and third team during reps, but that's to be expected. And, how does he handle that? If he handles that like a pro and he gets to the season, then I think Boo Carter will have a really strong fall. And after that, it doesn't really matter. I think it's all about staying in the here and now and focusing on this fall and seeing where things go with Boo. But I think the offense right now would be on the back burner for him.
Austin Price of VolQuest's On 3 with us. So, Austin, the quarterback battle getting started, have you seen any separation? Have you seen anything to suggest that there is an early front runner or someone who has impressed you the most from what you've seen in limited fashion? Just based off of what you heard, what are the early takeaways about week one of the Tennessee quarterback battle?
Well, I think the overall practice is kind of like the open periods for us to see, which is not a lot, but I think every guy's flashed at some point when we've been in there, much like they flashed when we've not been in there. And at points, they've all struggled, right? And I think for Tennessee, it's about finding consistency. It's about finding the quarterback that gives you the best chance to win. But to this point, no, I don't think there's been any real separation on who the quarterback will be this fall. I think that comes, as we get into this week, where we're in full pads and they've got, a scrimmage coming up on Saturday. I think potentially a week from now, maybe you're talking about somebody kind of grabbing the bull by the horns, but I'm not sure even then he'll have a dead-set front runner for this job.
Austin Price with us this morning at VolQuest. Austin, are the two guys, Jake Merklinger and Joey Aguilar, as we talk about this competition right now, or does George McIntyre have his hat in the pile also?
He certainly has an opportunity, and I think a lot of that boils down to how much does George get reps with quality players? In the spring, before the spring game, I'm not sure George was throwing to anybody that was not a walk-on or not somebody that was a true freshman. And now I think, I think the distribution of reps will determine, how real his opportunity is. And again, we're not going to know that because we're not in there for a lot of that stuff. But
Right.
I think for George, I continue to be told he is absolutely in the race, but I still would consider him option 3 just because of weight, experience, all those things. I still think what makes the most sense is Joey Aguilar, but Aguilar's got to prove that he can run the offense and got to prove he can do it. And Jake Merklinger's got to prove he can do it as well. Both of them, now Aguilar doesn't have the experience in the offense, but he has the experience overall, and of course Merklinger's the flip of that. Who can present the best case over the next couple of weeks to be Tennessee's starting quarterback? I'm intrigued to watch it, or at least hear about it. We won't get to watch anything, but I'm intrigued to at least hear about it, just because it's the first real quarterback competition we've had around here in a while.
No doubt. The spring transfer from Colorado, Colton Hood. This wasn't just hey, there's an open spot. There seems to be also an opportunity for him to come in and have some impact from the stuff that I've read from you guys, man. Where is he at right now in this summer camp?
Well, he's the starter opposite Ricky Gibson, and if and when Jermod McCoy returns, then I think he would kind of be the flex guy that could play some nickel to spell Boo, could spell Ricky, could spell Jermod. Either way, he's going to play an important factor on this football team. He is a really talented kid who has got the right mental makeup, I think, to be successful back in this league. And I think he's feeling really confident right now in his game as we, hit week 2 of fall camp. And, he's got a chance to kind of come in here and be a late addition as far as like not getting here till the summertime as a transfer in the spring and being a real factor for this football team. And so he's learning his teammates on the fly. Some of them he's known dating back to the high school ranks. He and Jake Merklinger played against each other, and several other Georgia kids he knew going against them. But this is an opportunity for him to kind of grab the bull by the horns and run with it, because McCoy is not going to start the season, it doesn't look like. And the question is how quickly can he come back? Either way, I think you feel much better about it than you did leaving spring when you did not have Colton Hood on your football team, and it was much more open. The other person that's really impressed, Ramon, at that spot has been Ty Redmond, the true freshman from Atlanta. He is today running opposite Colton Hood because there was no Ricky Gibson on the practice field when we were out there. So he's continued to make an early splash early in fall camp.
Austin Price of VolQuest's On 3, our guest, as he is every Tuesday at this time on Ramon and Will. Austin, what have you thought about the freshman receivers and Travis Smith and Rodarius Jackson? I know Josh Heupel's message has been nobody has time to be young. With so many opportunities at that position, how have you been impressed by or just noticed those two in their first full fall camp?
Yeah, for Travis Smith and Rodarius Jackson, it's about, as Hubs would call it, stacking days. That's his phrase of the month, apparently. He says it continuously. Stacking days and building on what they did in the spring. And both those two and Joakim Dodson have continued to impress, and they're going to have to play. They can't hit. There's no freshman wall. There's no option for a freshman wall. They better blow right through the wall, or Tennessee's going to have a tough time. I mean, Brazel's not really seen the practice field, so to speak, to this point. I mean, he's been out there a little bit when we leave, I think, to get through some acclimation days. That way, when he is cleared to go, he's a full go and doesn't have to sit there in a jersey and nothing else for a couple of days. And then, Mike Matthews missed a practice. Braylon Staley missed today's practice. I mean, it's not an ideal situation, which is why, Lamari Jefferson getting praise on the practice field this morning, potentially having his best practice at Tennessee, is a great sign for Tennessee. And again, I think for Amari, he didn't play last year at Alabama. I'm not sure how much he really learned his freshman year at Alabama. He's still you almost have to treat him like he is a true freshman as well in a lot of ways. And so he's trying to figure things out. He was limited during the spring due to the hip stuff. He's been slowed in fall camp, but today was his best day. So all these younger receivers or inexperienced receivers, they don't really have an option. It's go time. They're throwing them in the deep end, and they've got to swim.
Austin, what does that competition look like up front, and how do you feel about this offensive line now 25 days out from kick with Sam Pendleton inside, with Wendell Moe, and then kind of another spot at guard open? What can you tell us about that competition and how it's unfolded through the early days of camp?
Yeah, I think for Tennessee, they're trying to find who their center is going to be. Is that going to be Sam Pendleton? Is that going to be William Satterwhite? Then it dictates off of that, because I think if you're talking about who is your, if Pendleton is your center, then who's your guard? If it's Jesse Perry, Perry will be at right guard alongside David Sanders. Moy would be beside Lance Hurd at left guard. If it is Sham Umarov, then Umarov, I think, would be at left guard. Moy would be at right guard beside David Sanders. So right now it feels like Jesse Perry has the most momentum in this battle to see who the guard spot's going to be, pending the center decision, which, again, is between Satterwhite and Sam Pendleton. If Pendleton does not win the center job, then I think it's very possible he is your starting guard alongside whoever they do. I don't know how they'll divvy it up at that point, because they've not really practiced him at guard when we've been out there to see kind of is he running at right guard or left guard if he is at guard. Either way, I think he could probably cross-train either position. But I think it all starts with the center spot. I continue to feel good about the offensive line. I said that dating back to the spring. I think this is going to be a more formidable unit. I like Jesse Perry a lot. I think he can be a really, really good player in this offense. David Sanders has put on the necessary weight. Lance Hurd seems like he's lost the necessary weight. And it just certainly just feels like this is going to be a more talented group than they were a year ago. But, again, they do miss Cooper Mays. The loss of him at center, is probably one they're going to feel more than the other spots.
Austin, when you look at this young group of guys you speak of, again, the freshman linebackers, man, Jaden Pilati has had a good bit of praise. Austin, I also didn't realize he was about 6'4", 210. Is he going to end up being an outside edge linebacker, or he's an off-ball linebacker?
He'll be more – I don't think he'll be a Leo. I think he'll just be kind of an outside backer in this offense, which runs just two backers. He'll play the more Arion Carter-type position, in my opinion, than the Jeremiah T-Lander in the box position. And so Pilati is tall, and he's rangy, and, got a lot of talent. He just has to, again, continue to progress, much like, Jaden Harmon and Brendan Ains and all these younger linebackers that either haven't played to this point or are true freshmen and are getting their first opportunities.
Austin, when you look at the recruiting front and what Kelsey Pope has been able to do in this cycle, adding another big target in Celesi Moa, who turns down in-state Utah and commits to Tennessee, what is the significance of this win? How does Tennessee use Moa, who has the potential to maybe play on both sides of the ball and is quite the athlete the ball's picked away from the in-state Utes? Yeah,
I think for Tennessee, it's just about continuing the momentum in recruiting. And Kelsey Pope's had a really nice 2-year run. You look at, especially you date back to Mike Matthews and Braylon Staley, it's been a nice 3-year run. But last year, Rodarius, Travis Smith, Joakim Dotson, nice trio. This year, to this point, Legend Bay, Tyreek King, who everybody forgets about, and I think is as talented as anybody in the class. And then, of course, now with Celesi Moa. And then, of course, there's that one big fish out there they're trying to flip, and Tristan Keys. So it's a nice run by Kelsey Pope. They've got to continue to add receivers. They don't have enough now. They're going to, potentially lose Brazel at the end of the year, because I'm not sure. He'll try to probably go pro if he has a decent enough year. And at some point, you have to continue to move your more talented players to the field. And some of those younger players, I think, could end up being more of a factor a year from now. They're going to be a factor this year, but even more so a year from now. And then these freshmen will come in and want to play. So it's going to be interesting to kind of see how they divvy up, everything over the next couple of years at the receiver position, because they are stacking talent at that spot pretty well. They just got to continue to add more depth there.
Austin, time for our weekly question on the two big 5-stars. You already brought up Tristan Keys. First part, is there any update on him and Tennessee's dialogue? And I feel like that's going to be a marathon we're going to be talking about for quite a while. And the same for Savion Hyder, who I know is closer to a more firm announcement date. Where does Tennessee stand with those two at this point?
Nothing's changed with Hyder. He's laying low. I said last night on our website, any chatter out there about him, you have to take with a grain of salt, and that includes anything I'm hearing, just because he does not talk. I mean, he does not talk, and his family lays low, and they want it that way. They don't want it out there. So there continues to be a lot of good vibes around Tennessee with him. Michigan obviously feels good too. It's a two-team race. It's been a two-team race, and we'll kind of see where things go. What is it, the 18th, 19th, whatever day he's committing? I forget which day it is. I got kids, man. I sleep. Don't sleep enough. And so it's one of those 2 days, and we'll see where things go. And again, I've continued to feel like Tennessee quietly had moved into a really good position there. We'll see if that holds true or if anything changes between now and then. And then as for Tristan Keys, the question is when does Tristan Keys want to do something, right? I think that for him, it is the relationships are kind of solidified everywhere he goes. So it's about, finding where he feels most comfortable. Is that staying at LSU? I don't think so. I would take the field over LSU. I've been saying that. Is it A&M? Is it Tennessee? I think his best relationships are here. And so when you couple with the fact I think he's going to flip, and you couple the fact that I think his best relationships are here, I think over time Tennessee ends up being the play for Tristan Keys. The question is what does the timeline look like for him? Because a lot can change over the next few months. And so I think for him it's all about just finding his vibe and finding kind of what he wants to do and talking it over with his family and going that route and deciding does he eventually want to, pull away from LSU. Because to this point, there's been a lot of chatter. Mm-hmm. You date back to May, June, July. Tristan Keys is going to do this. Tristan Keys is going to do that. To this point, he's done nothing. So does it stay that way? Does LSU continue to hold on to him? Or does somebody like Tennessee or Texas A&M potentially flip him over the next few weeks or months?
Austin, man, I don't know if you know how much you were appreciated this past week as Tennessee fans continue to take shots online because you debunked Blurgate. Okay, I'm not sure. Did you see
no debunking? As I told the people, I say anybody with deductive reasoning can look at the video and go, Mike's eyes and the ball are coming from a different angle than the blurred object.
Yes.
Plus, the blurred object is running a route with a defender running alongside of it.
That's
like, right. I never understood the whole thing to begin with, and so I tried to. I knew it was Kitzelman. I knew it was Kitzelman 2 days ago, and that's why I said, hey guys, Miles up there in red jersey, it might be him. Trying to be kind of trying to be nonchalant about it. But then they, continued the grassy knoll theories, and so, I had to drop the picture out there and prove it was not. It was Merklinger. I said on our board it's Merklinger through the pick, but guess what? Joey's throwing a pick. Georgia's throwing a pick.
Yeah.
They all throw picks. Guess what? If your DBs are going to make a play in fall camp or make a play in the game, guess what? They have to pick off the quarterback, which means the quarterback makes it. So it works both ways. If the quarterback, if Mike beats Colton Hood, falls out on time, catches a touchdown, then what happens? Colton Hood. Can you believe Colton Hood? Instead, it works both ways. It's kind of like Coach Fulmer used to say. Somebody early is going to have their band playing. That happens, right? Somebody's band's going to play.
Yeah. Oh, we appreciate it, man. We had folks saying stuff, and I was just like, yes. Thank God
we're
for
back,
Austin Price, baby. Yeah, we're back. Take that.
Blurgate 5-star updates from our 5-star guest, Austin Price, who joins us Tuesdays at 8:20. Great stuff, Austin. Thank you so much.
The horn just blew, guys.
I love it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Austin.
There's Austin Price with us this morning. Yeah, Tennessee got some heat for that, too. These are college football programs. They run practices like small governments run nuclear programs. What do you expect?
Dang, if you do.
What do you expect? It's part of the fun of college football. Plus, it wasn't even a quarterback that threw it.
It was
somebody. It wasn't even a quarterback that was blurred out in the video. Anyway.
Somebody was like, y'all didn't make them your morning roast? I was just like, oh, my God.
What's there to roast? It's college football. College football coaches didn't just now start to become paranoid about information getting out. If you missed it, Tennessee football put out a video, a highlight package, as they do, of Colton Hood having an interception at practice, and they blurred blurred out a player in a red non-contact jersey. And the internet, of course, goes crazy with it, saying, oh, well, Tennessee's blurring out the quarterback that threw the pick. How dare they? It wasn't even the quarterback they're blurring out. They blurred out Miles Kitselman because he's hurt in a red non-contact jersey. As confirmed by Austin
There you
Price.
go.
Coming up next, the